I'm going to be speaking on the medical and scientific marvel of Dolly the sheep. Dolly the sheep was the first mammal to successfully be cloned from an adult mammary sheep cell. The whole process happened at the Roslin Institute in Mid-Athonian, Scotland. She lived there until her death after 6 years of life. Her birth was first announced in February of 1997. Quite a breakthrough in technology back then. The technique that was used and made famous with her birth is somatic cell nuclear transfer, where a cell is placed in a denucleated ovum and the two cells fuse and thus develop into an embryo, thus turning into a sheep after a certain period of time. From Animal Research Info, Dolly lived out her life as the pampered sheep at the Roslin Institute. She mated and gave natural birth to her 6 lambs, which nobody thought was possible because she was a clone and it had never been heard of before. They didn't know how the whole process would work, but she gave birth to 6 healthy lambs. She was eventually euthanized in 2003. She was almost 7. It was in February of 2003 due to severe arthritis and a lung tumor disease that is common in sheep that live indoors versus outdoors. Since Dolly, many other farm animals have been cloned in the same way with the somatic cell nuclear transfer. There's been a lot of breakthroughs in the process since then, so it has become quite a bit easier, but it's still a difficult process and it takes a long time, but the process in itself is easier. Many people are now spending over $100,000 to get their household pets cloned. After Dolly, the main cloning focus was on various other farm animals, donkeys, cows, horses, pigs, things of that nature, and then they eventually started cloning household cats, dogs, and now they can do about any animal you could imagine. Dolly was cloned in order for mitochondrial research. 1 in 6,000 people are born with mitochondrial diseases that can cause issues like muscle dystrophy and various other diseases. Dolly was cloned in order to study the effectiveness of embryo extraction to replace the bad mitochondria. Her and her lambs were both used extensively for scientific research. Like I said before, she stayed in the institute her entire life. She was never put out to pasture. She was never allowed to roam on a farm. Her entire life was dedicated to medical research. They focused her on the mitochondrial research of humans because apparently the mitochondrial cells, the cells in sheep and the cells in humans are similar enough to where they could do research. So she was cloned in order to see if the process would work. Dolly the sheep was a miracle and a breakthrough in the scientific world.